Right, you need to be, according to Gary Vee, producing 100 pieces of content per day. Or that's the level that you need to get to. And the challenge that he's shown, and he's put a document up to support this that I'm going through today, is called 64 pieces of content in a day. Now, back in 2008, Gary Vee was talking about Twitter, and he said he was working for his dad's business, which was a bottle shop, and he used the example he gave back then was he sent out a couple of tweets and outsold billboards that were paying $19,000. It was either a week or a month for. And he said, this is the way that this thing's going. The attention you need to get is on social media. You need to get on top of this thing. If you don't, as my mentor drums into me constantly, adapt or die, you will die if you don't adapt to this stuff. And people were pretty much ignoring it. Now, I've got a little story that I'm going to run for you in a minute that come from a podcast that I did the other day. And this is all about creating content and using content, repurposing it, and so that you can get your message in front of the people that need to see it. That's why you need. There's so many marketing messages these days now. I'm going to talk about a thing in a minute called the mere exposure effect. People are just smashed with marketing, and if your message isn't specific to them, you're not going to cut through the thousands of marketing messages that they get every day. Anyway, the reason I have those Skype symbols up today, as I'm doing this, if you want to cut in and ask a question, or you want to know something a bit more specific about what I'm doing, you can jump in via Skype. Although most of this is going to be done inside the group called Your Social Media Questions Answered. I'm going to do the exact same thing in there. People are going to be able to ring in and ask me what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and how they can go about doing it for themselves. All right, so let's get into this Twitter story that comes from a podcast I was interviewed on the other day called The Life of Mine.
I want to know, like, the thing that interests me the most is when you started the social media marketing stuff,
Yep.
not recently. Like, when you said 2008, you got into this sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
How prevalent was it back then, social media?
Mate, well, I'll tell you, so I went to a networking meeting, right? And there's this bloke there. And Twitter was actually the first program that I cut my teeth on. And I went along to this networking thing because I thought, oh, well, I started learning, as I said, I'd got to the end of that training that I did back in 2008. And the guy said, you need to go out. He said, local businesses are just getting screwed. Okay. He said, by big marketing agencies. He said, the shit that you've been taught is better than an MBA in marketing, was his description of it. He said, you need to go out and teach businesses this. So I thought, oh, I'll go off. Fucking hate networking. I didn't do it for very long. So I went to this networking event. And anyway, this bloke, he said, what do you do? I said, I do social media. And back in those days, I was the only one pretty much on the coast, maybe one, two others that were doing it, and no one else was doing it. Everyone just thought it was a fad, was going to go away. And he says, oh, what do you do? And I told him, and he said something about, Twitter, because Demi Moore had just got on Twitter at that stage, and she had like a massive following, right? And he goes, 6 months' time, Twitter will just be, everyone will have forgotten about it. He said, I'll just be another fad. I said, oh, is that right, mate? And he goes, yeah. And I said, fuck, gee, what they're saying about horse and carts the other day. And he said, what's that? I said, they're going to get the fucking things back out and get rid of cars because they reckon it's just a fad. All right, this is not just a fad. The problem is not going to go away. The problem is what is known as the mere exposure effect. We are now submitted to about, it might be a little bit less with a big C at the minute. It's actually probably through the roof at the moment because we're spending so much time on social media watching so many other shows and all the rest of it. Anywhere up to, I think I've heard now, like 20,000 marketing messages per day. Used to be back before social media, back 2008, probably when we were talking there, the statistics were about 5 to 12 contacts with your business. So somewhere between the 5th to the 12th contact, 80% of people would buy it with your business. Those stats are blown right out the water. I've heard stats up as high as 30 contacts with your business now, and somewhere between 20 to 30. But I don't know what the exact number is, but I do know it's a hell of a lot more than once or twice. And most people post on social media 64 posts. They'd be lucky to do that in a month. Some businesses were lucky to put that up in a year. So Gary's saying that we need to get up around 100 today. The big obstacle for you, of course, is you're just not in the habit of doing it, of creating the content, because it is a skill. I call my site, my Facebook page, Social Media Mastery, for a reason. It is a skill that you have to master to get quickly. Imagine trying to do 64 bits of content if you don't know what you're actually doing. So first we have to get you in the habit of doing that. I have a program for that called, funnily enough, Gateway Habit to Social Media Mastery. It comes from this book, Atomic Habits. All you need to do to get started is to spend 10 minutes a day creating the habit of showing up to do your social media. If you want to know more about that, again, I'll bang a link just below this. It'll be read something like isometricmarketing.co/gateway habit. All right, so let's have a quick look at what Gary's got to say. We'll go back to that. There's 270 pages in this PDF document that Gary's put up. I just want to make sure that you're actually looking at this and that you are. Okay. So there's 270 pages in this document that Gary's put up. And we go right back to the start here. He talks about how to make 64 pieces of content in a day. Literally steps you right through it. So he's saying here, if you're a business and you want to be relevant for the long term, which is, I mean, the guy that was at the Twitter program was looking short term. He thought 6 months' time it was all going to be gone and he wouldn't have to worry about it or put up with it anymore. He's probably flipping hamburgers at McDonald's these days, I reckon. So you need to consider putting out 100 plus pieces of content to a day. And it all comes back to the messaging. How do you get the right context around your messaging so that people pay attention to your content? And something that I'd actually missed and I didn't pick up until Gary's been preaching it for a little while, and I hadn't actually picked up the importance of it until I went through this. Problem, however, is how the hell do you create 64 pieces of content? Just to go through this, let me show you. I went through it and I've done the planning on this already. So for the average person, you're not going to get to put up 64 pieces of content in a day. I'll open up. You won't even get the planning done. I'll show you the planning and what I've done so far. And this is me, and I'm good at this shit. I use proper systems to get this stuff done. And the system that I use is called Kanban. So if you look here, these 3 tickets just here, spend 50-minute editing ticket specific tasks to complete. So that's 3 50-minute sessions. One was a little bit less actually. I did 2 full 50-minute sessions, and one I got through in about 25 minutes. Was to come up with just this here, these tickets that are in the ready column, what actually needs to get done. And these got a little checklist. You'll see there's 3 tasks in that one, there's 4 tasks in that one, 3 in that one. That was just to get through what Gary has in that document, to break it down to actual actionable tasks to be able to go away and so that I can get this punched out in a day. If you're not using the systems that I've used, if you don't use Kanban, if you just work the way that everyone else works, everyone thinks they're highly efficient. Trust me, unless you're using a system like Kanban or Scrum, some sort of system like that, EOS is another great system. Unless you have an actual system that you work to, you're not working efficiently. It doesn't happen that way. Anyway, the average person would take somewhere between my 120 minutes, so it's about 2 hours of planning in there. Average person would be lucky to get through that in about 10 to 12 hours. That's if they're good at what they do. Sorry, I shouldn't say the average person. I should say someone that's good at what they do would take at least a day, 10 to 12 hours to get through just the planning to get to the stage where they can do this actual creating these posts. So I've done all that, taken the work out of it for you. All you need to do is shoot across to my Facebook group, which I'll post a link for. You'll see this video is actually in there as well because I fucked it right up and recorded this video too. This is actually piece of content number 3 now because I put this, posted this into my group, Steve, onto live here on my page. Anyway, all good. That means I'll go to practice run and you get an even better go at it, better finished product. So, oh, went one too far. Feb2020.club, type that into, that's not a mistake, that's right, Feb2020.club, type that in and you'll go across. This video will be sitting there and I will link back to my page if you can't find it. It's called Your Social Media Questions Answered. Drop a comment just below. I'll actually post the links below this video in a second so that you can find them. I'll be inside there all day today. As I say, if you want to get in on question if you want to say,
I
how
want
did
to
you do
know,
that? How
like,
did you
the
make
thing
that
that
video,
interests
Benny? How did you create that image? How did you repurpose content? You can do that via Skype. That will be inside the group. I'll show you
I want to
how I
know,
created
like,
this
the
little
thing that
video
interests
here.
me the most is when
Nothing will be hidden. I'll be showing you all the tools that I use, exactly how I go through this Kanban process to get it all done and get you from to do to done. I'll show you that gateway habit as well. So links I have to put down too, so I better remember. So I'm going to put gateway habit, and I'll also post a link back to the. I'll tag the group so you can apply to join. Link to group. That is it. Remember what my mentor Barry Bull drummed into me, and remember he went through iTunes, lost his whole business to it, and that is adapt or die. It is, don't be like that dickhead back at the network meeting that tried to tell me that Twitter wasn't relevant and it was just going to be a fad. That is it for today. Remember what the world's greatest showman Peter Barnum said: without promotion, something terrible happens. Nothing. Speak soon. And you just saw that video that I run there. That is a little tool called Lumen 5. And if you want to know, again, that's going to be part of what we do today. I'll show you how to get that. It's a free tool. It's an exceptional free tool. And I'll show you how to pump out content with that as well. So, Feb 2020, speak soon.